teams, not really, doing anything. They're choosing players. They're waiting on players who are hurt. I've got a lot of problems with a lot of these teams. Okay, well, the King and Lunches for Wims, probably the biggest crapper of a game that you can ever have. The King wins 103-78 to Lunches for Wims 97-58. What do you say to that?
It's like...
It's a stinker.
It reminds me of a team called Redonkulous with a slogan of a man sitting on a pile of dung. I mean, that game, you almost win that game without... You could have won that game without breaking 100, King. But, thank God you made it interesting, 103. But again, I look at that King team, and I'll talk about this in my power rankings. You may be surprised, but the King is starting to make a little bit of noise here, and that team is going to start scoring more than 103. And we saw it here tonight on Thursday Night Football.
Well, yes, we certainly did. And for Lunches for Wims, just dismal. Yeah. After a great start, an unexpected start, the managerial experience isn't. He's a first-year manager in this league, so
and that being the case, I think that kind of management needs to look at itself and say, are we going to be back next year in the FLF? Because this is not.
Whoa! Have you talked to the commissioner?
No, I just know, I know a bit about how the review process goes. If they look at how the team was managed throughout the year. Not only the draft, which is a beginning point, but it's a process of evaluation. And if that team is not showing that it's working to improve and making some moves that make sense, and they don't make the playoffs, then we might not see them back.
Wow, this commissioner could be a bit of a hardliner, folks, so be on the lookout. Okay, last but not least, the Goods.
Yeah.
Dominating the mofos. I believe it was our Toyota Tundra blowout of the game.
Yeah.
And I want to put an ad into our sponsors. I know some people with Toyotas, and they really like them.
Perfect.
Goods dominate 157 to 116.
Yeah, again, we can break that mofo team down a little bit later, but we've touched on it.
Power ranking timers.
All right, you want to get started?
Yeah, I'll do it. Okay. Number 5, we're going to go fifth worst. That would be the Morningwood. They've dropped down. They were in the top 5 of the power rankings. Now they're in the bottom 5. Good talent, but not enough gardening and watering from the management. This is a team that is like an old car that if you put in the right parts, it'll go. But it's not going anywhere, and I don't think it will.
That team seems to be dancing in and out of the bottom of the power rankings. It's even gotten into the top of the power rankings. It won't get past 4 or 5 in either side of the rankings. Again, I think it's just a matter of making a few real tweaks to your roster and helping it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
we're sorry, Peyton Hillis is not going to play. Let's move on, people.
And fairies could fly out of my ass, too, All right. Redonkulous. Hey, what do you say? The Redonkulous had another snake-bitten, horrible, tough loss last week. This is a team, though, nobody wants to see in the playoffs. It's putting up a heck of a lot of points. What do you think? This team is snake-bit. I said it earlier, and I stand by it.
It is a team that we all hope is snake-bit. We don't want it in the playoffs. We, being the managers of this league, they don't want any part of this team. It's too explosive. It puts up points every week, but still finds ways to lose. It scored 135 points and got blown out by the Peaceful Warriors.
Yeah.
Something is wrong in Redonkulous land, and it ain't the roster. So, let's just, if I'm a manager of that league, I'm hoping that they lose 1 or 2 more, and they are...
They're done for. Just to stress, we are objective here on the roundtable, so please do not take any reference to we as in as your announcers. We're trying to we are all family. We follow your news for you. How about that? Up next we have the Boone Humper. Boone Humper, what do you say? This guy, his plug and play magic was there, and last week it just went away. It was a drastic, horrific lack of plug-in and playing ability. He takes a tough loss to Mason Key Colby, but every week he's at it again.
Yeah, I mean, at last count, I think the Boone Humper had 3 original draft choices on his roster. A 1, a 2, and I think a 13 or a 12. This team has been completely rebuilt. It's rebuilt weekly with flyers, and so you're going to get
daily
that production where you don't break 100 and then you score 150 points on the Peaceful Warriors.
Unbelievable.
And shock the world. This team, has started out again this Thursday night posting 30 out of a wide receiver that nobody was talking about. And pulling off an old quarterback, just getting acclimated to the league and getting almost 20 points. What a show so far for the Boone Humper. Kind of how he's going to have to live, right on the edge.
Well, I spoke with the management of the Boone Humper, and he felt after last week it would take that extra bit of mojo, not mofo, to get this team rejiggered. And this is what he calls it. He calls it mercenary fantasy football, where you have to perform for his team, for the Boone Humper, that week, or else your spot on the roster is gone.
Well, I think what we've seen and what we saw last year at the Peaceful War is a lot of waiver work to rebuild rosters. There's been talk in the office, and I don't know what the commissioner's thoughts are on it, but there might be salary caps next year. There might be, financial constraints, make-believe money, of course, where you'd have to remain under certain budgets.
Of course.
So we'll see.
I think there's a lot to be discussed there. So current contestants, don't even worry. Up next, Fire Spitting Jimmy's. This team is the second. This is my pick for the second worst team in the FLF.
Wow.
The fall of the great champion, or proud champion, or humble champion. Not. He was just a lucky manager. And now we're seeing the true colors of the Jimmies. They're 3-6, and I don't think this team has a snowball chance in hell of getting to the dance.
It's amazing to see, but not so much when you really think about it. The Fire Spitting Jimmies, the current champion of the FLF,
this team
did about the same thing last year, but I think might have had 3 or 4 wins at this point in the season. But regardless, made a waiver wire move, made another waiver wire move. All of a sudden, was that redonkulous team you started to fear, got into the playoffs, and what did it do? It stung the most talented team in the league, went on to beat the Peaceful Warriors for a championship. They say they're not out of this, and they've got a similar time clock going like last year, and he says he's a move away from making this thing work.
I have had an opportunity to speak with the manager of the Fire Spitting Jimmies, and he does seem to echo what you're saying, that he believes that this is where he started. But 1 year is lucky. You can't do this strategy 2 years in a row. It's hard. It's very hard.
You applaud the confidence of the Jimmies, but sometimes you think it's just a lot of hot gas.
Yeah.
I think that when you have Hakeem Nicks underachieving and hurt. When you have Des Bryant, kind of a hothead, inexperienced, and a loose kid.
I heard him being referred to as
out, some other injury issues. It might be time to accept your fate, Fire Spitting Jimmies.
All right, last but not least, the lunch for wimps. I'm not gonna, they didn't break 100 last week, and I believe his running backs are DeLone Carter and who's that guy from Bernard Scott from Cincinnati. Lunches for Wimps. I've had an opportunity to speak with you on the phone a few times, but right now you're out in the middle of a big choppy sea, and I don't think you should expect to see landfall. Your team sucks.
Well, we are in complete agreement. The Lunches for Wimps team officially sucks. They've lost 2 of their starting running backs. That was their core besides Greg Jennings. Unless Bradshaw can come back and do something, this team is screwed. McFadden